All right, so this is Scary Movie 6, or just Scary Movie. I guess they dropped the 6. It's directed by Michael Tides. It's the return of the Scary Movie franchise. The last one was Scary Movie 5 with Ashley Tisdale, which was terrible. I did not like that one at all. So it's the return of the Scary Movie franchise, but also uh, Anna Faris is back. She won in the last one. And then the Wayans family, they're involved in this again. They won the first two, which are the best of them, and the movies have just gotten worse and worse since they haven't been a part of them. So with them coming back, it's like, okay, they could actually make this work. So I'm one of those people that was hopeful. Like, hey, if the if anybody can make these scary movies good again, it's the Wayans. So there's not much of a story here, but what is here is mainly Scream 5 or Scream 2022. So we got Sarah, played by Olivia Rose Keegan. She is the Sam character. And then you got Tuesday, her sister, played by Savannah Lee Nassif, who's clearly Tara, or Jenna Ortega's character. Jenna Ortega played Wednesday in that Wednesday show. So her name is Tuesday. I thought that was actually kind of amusing. But Sarah, she goes back to her home to be there for uh, Tuesday after she gets stabbed and she's in the hospital, and you get the whole thing with her boyfriend and then her other friends, and they're they're related to characters from Scary Movie. Cindy, Anna Faris's character, they're her daughters, and with Cindy, they're doing the newer Halloween movies where it's Laurie Strode, where she's isolated in this house with weapons and everything, preparing for Ghostface to return so she can kill him. This movie is really bad. Like, this is really hard to sit through. Um, but let's get to positives first. I think the performances are good. The people coming back to be these characters again after all these years, like the Wayans and even Anna Faris as Cindy, I think they're good. I think they fall back into their roles seamlessly, right? Like they've been like none of this time has passed, right? They're really good in these roles. So I definitely give them that. There's only even the newer characters and new actors, like they are also good for the most part. There's only one person where I was like, wow, this isn't working. We'll get to that. Uh, Also, the opening of the movie, even though this movie's mainly Scream 5, they have some Scream 6 stuff in here too. And with the opening, you had Tiana Taylor, and it's like the opening of Scream 6. And I actually thought that was kind of fun, the way that played out. Right. Tiana Taylor has never been all that great for me, acting wise, from what I've seen, but I thought she was good in that. There's some meta jokes in there too. So I thought the opening was actually strong. The only thing that consistently was enjoyable for me in this was Ghostface himself. I've always liked that Scary Movie, made Ghostface kind of silly and things like that, put Ghostface in different scenarios. It almost feels like this would work a lot better if these were skits or shorts where Ghostface is involved in different horror movies, modern day horror movies. That I feel like would work a lot better. Like, because Ghostface is consistently funny to me. I like when they change the mask of Ghostface. Ghostface gets hit or beat up, and there's a bunch of bumps on the mask, and it looks all messed up. The facial expression changes whenever Ghostface gets high and things like that. There's different scenarios that they put Ghostface in that are actually funny and I actually like and are creative. All right, so let's talk about the performance in here that really didn't work. So Sarah, the oldest daughter of Cindy in this, played by Olivia Rose Keegan, basically the Sam character from Scream 5 and 6. That actress was really bad, like really bad, to where like she was really overly expressive and like felt like she needed to be do too much with every line or the way she would move. It's one of those things. It's like on the level of a Friedberg and Seltzer movie where you have characters that are just outrageous and like over the top when it comes to the way they are and when it comes to the actor's performance. That's what it felt like. Where you're trying too hard to be funny, and you're just really not, and that actually makes it worse. Getting to the main thing here, it's not a movie. Like, if you watch that first Scary Movie, it's been a long time, but, like, it's mostly following Scream, and it's got some other stuff in there too, but it is following, and it does have, like, a narrative because it's mostly doing that movie. This movie it's Scream 5 every now and then to the point where it's like, oh yeah, that's right, this is supposed to be Scream 5. And then the Scream 6 just like really shoved in, like forced in here. Like the character, this whole thing is in the trailer, just about the whole thing with the non-binary, because you have the modern day like COVID's in here, you have the modern day political stuff forced in here that's not funny. You have the non-binary character getting stabbed on the subway train, and it's like there's no reason for that character to be on the subway train. Like it's only there because that happened in Scream 6 and they wanted to involve it. So it's like, it's just it's Scream 5 mostly, but it's really just a bunch of different references to other horror movies. I mean, it even goes into like just full on little segments that are other horror movies. The Substance, that segment that didn't need to be in this at all. The whole thing. I don't know what movie that is. It has the clown. I haven't seen it. It has the crazy clown. But in this, it's Santa. That whole thing is in the trailer. This clown character is dressed up like Santa, passing out limbs to the kids. Turns out that's a flashback of Cindy and her daughter, but like that whole thing is in the trailer. And that feels like it doesn't need to be in here. I mean, they really force stuff in here, like this Sinners stuff, which I thought was kind of funny in the trailer, but then in the movie, because you have Ray, Sean's character, Sean Wayans, um, you have him there, and he's basically doing the "I ain't gay no more, I'm delivered" thing, which is years old. When he's dressed up like the guy and he's going into the church, it's supposed to be the beginning of Sinners. That's funny, just like as a visual thing. But the way it plays out, where you're just doing the same thing that that guy did in that original video, it wasn't all that funny. But either way, it doesn't lend to pretty much anything, right? Ray is just a bunch of gay jokes. It's just gay jokes over and over again. Sometimes they're funny. For the most part, they feel forced, and it's like, really, you have nothing else for this character? The boyfriend, Sarah and Tuesday, they come to the door for the party, and they're the vampires. They're dressed up like, because it's a costume party. They're dressed up like the vampires from Sinners, but they're actually not letting them in the party for some reason, just so they can have that play out and they can play like a white version of I think it was "Moving On Up." I think the song from the Jeffersons. I think that felt forced. It's just like, oh my god, they really force a reference. Not just It's not just horror movies. They even force a references from like the older scary movies, and then also there's even a reference in there to white chicks. And there was somebody in the audience with me, barely anybody in the theater, but he's like, white chicks. If you're somebody who did that to this, or would do that to this moment, this movie's for you. This movie's for you. The stuff that really got on my nerves in this was the things that actually did work, that they still find a way to fuck them up. So there's one where it starts off. I didn't like the setup, but whatever, right? And I'm gonna spoil these two moments because you really need to see just how bad this can get. So, especially with the next thing I'm about to talk about, but with this one, it starts off with Candyman, right? Marlon Wayne's character, Shorty, right? Who's he's the same character, weed smoker and everything like that. But also he does live streaming, and so they force Kaisen out on that. I think that's in the trailer. That's not a spoiler. I think that was in the trailer. um, but he's standing in front of a mirror and he's saying Candyman 5 times, and Candyman comes through a hole in the wall and things like that. Turns out Candyman is actually selling candy, but he's selling like weed gummies and stuff like that. I thought that was forced, and it turns out, like, I guess he wasn't saying Candyman in the mirror to call him. Like, I guess Candyman was like, "Hey, man, you didn't even pick up the phone. I only came in here because I heard you saying my name from that hole in the wall." That's like not funny at all. But Brenda ends up passing out that candy on accident to the kids because Halloween. And so the kids end up eating those weed gummies and stuff. And that is the way that they have the reference to weapons, where the kids are, that's why they're running down the street like that, is because they're high. And I was like, okay, that was kind of clever. I think you worked that in here well. It wasn't that didn't feel forced like these other references. But while they're running down the street, you got voiceover where the kids, the voiceover kills it. The kids are like, "Oh, I'm high as shit," or "Oh, 6'7." They forced 6'7" in here. And then there's one where the kid's like, "I'm doing Naruto running." It's like not funny at all, and you just killed that. I thought it was clever. I thought it was well done. Other than I didn't like the setup with Candyman, but like, okay, the payoff of it, I was like, okay, that's working. And then you force that voice because the kids aren't saying. You see one of the kids' mouth moving. This voiceover. It's like, why the fuck did you put that in there to mess that up? Then the other one. This is the really egregious one. So so Shorty's standing out there, and a black man runs towards him, and then runs off to the side. Okay, let's get out. So then the reason why he's running is because Ray is running after him. Right? It's another gay joke with Ray. So he goes back in. Ghostface is now sitting with the teacup, and he's got the spoon. He's spinning it, and Marlon, he asks Marlon, "Oh, you want to quit smoking?" and things like that. And Marlon starts going into a story about his mother. It's like in Get Out, but it's different. And I actually thought that was kind of funny, the story that he was telling and the way it was playing out. But then he sinks into the couch and he's like falling in a sunken place. And instead of coming up with something clever using Get Out, using the sunken place, they have him become animated. And then he starts singing a song. It's like a he starts singing a song, and then what I think is supposed to be the K-pop Demon Hunters show up, and that might be the song from K-pop Demon Hunters. I haven't seen that. And so like the K-pop Demon Hunters come down and then they turn into actual demons, and then he starts fucking them in the bed and doing other stuff. And then he just wakes up in a bed because he thinks, oh, it's a dream or something. And then but he wakes up in the bed and he's in the bed with three Korean women. And then he just gets back into the covers smiling. I was like, what the fuck was that? Like, why even involve that in here? Whose idea was that? Like, that is so fucking terrible. Like, I was embarrassed to be sitting there watching it. It's like, what the fuck is going on? The lack of subtlety in this movie gets really annoying. Like, when it comes to references and stuff, because Brenda, Regina Hall, she's clearly made up to be uh, Octavia Spencer from Ma, very clearly in the way that she acts and everything, giving these teenagers shots and things like that. But the character actually comes up and goes, oh, says something about her hair and says, oh, you look like Octavia Spencer. It's like, okay, so you think the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet are watching this movie, right? If you know of that movie, you already know that that's what they're going for. Why do you need to say it? I'm at this point where, like, man, if you don't have something really, really clever for spoof movies, this should just be done. Like, I'm done with spoof movies, man. Like, you had the Freeburg and Seltzer stuff being terrible for those years. You got Marlon Wayans doing his own things on his own spoof movies that were also terrible. And then the Wayans come back to Scary Movie, and Scary Movie's coming back. All this could work. It really didn't, man. So for me, I'm thinking, hey, if you don't have something really, really clever with the spoof movie or whatever, don't even make it. At the very least, it shouldn't be in the theater. So that's it, man. I'm giving it trash. I gave Scream 7 my bottom rating, so obviously, yes, this is getting a higher rating. I like the Ghostface stuff for the most part, and there's some references that work. But man, this was really embarrassing. This was hard to sit through. That shit with the Get Out stuff with the K-pop Demon Hunters, that was really, really embarrassing. Yeah, no, this didn't work, man. This didn't work. They didn't need to. They really didn't need to come back and like make this and all that. No, it didn't work.